Hi, Algebra 2 kiddos. This is me doing a couple of problems from your Complete the Square worksheet. So I'm going to do problem number 10 first because it has a negative in it. So just since we didn't do one like that in class. Remember the y you can save for the end. So we're going to ignore that y for now. And then we want to rewrite negative x squared plus 2x plus, I'm going to put my square, equals, and then remember the 4, which is the c value currently, we want to move to the other side. Right here it's positive, so when I move it to the opposite side of the equal sign from its friends negative x squared and 2x, it's going to be negative, right? And then I'm going to say plus square. So don't forget to add the square to both sides. Okay, now I'm going to complete the square. So what that means, first, let me back up. First, I have to make sure, is this just a positive a value? Well, it's not. There's a negative there. So in your notes, it says the very first thing, if a is not a number equal to 1, you divide everything by a. So let's do that first. We're going to divide everything by negative 1, which is just going to switch all of their signs for this one, right? So now instead of it being a negative x squared, it's going to be a positive x squared. And this is going to be a minus 2x. And then I still have my plus blank. And then equals negative 4 divided by negative 1 is going to be positive 4. Now, because I took all of this out, and this originally was not something we could solve, I want to go ahead and tell myself right here that I actually took a negative 1 out of all of that. And so, actually, guys, let's see. I think this means that I don't have to divide this by a negative 1, because instead of getting rid of it, so to speak, we are just taking it out of that first part. So I'm going to actually keep that a negative 4, and then I'm going to show you when you add the thing to both sides, you have to be careful. Okay, so now right here, we want to complete the square. So I'm going to do half of negative 2. Right, so don't forget here, I'm going to do that little b divided by 2 squared. And that's what goes in the square. So in this case, b is negative 2. Right, divided by 2, that's going to be negative 1. And then negative 1 squared is positive 1. So that's what adds to the square there. Now, when I go to add the 1 to the other side, do you see that actually, guys, I'm not adding 1, I'm adding negative 1, because if I redistributed the negative right here, it would actually be minus 1, right? So I just need to make sure to think about it when it's a number other than 1. It's just slightly more challenging, which is why I wanted to do this problem for you. And so I'm going to, on this side, add negative, whoops, slipped my highlighter on. I'm going to add negative 1, like that. Okay, so now go ahead and do what you learned, which is write this as a perfect square trinomial, like so, and then don't forget there's still a minus in front of it. Right, because the original problem has that, so we want to keep it. And then negative 4, negative 1 is negative 5, and then I'm ready to rewrite as y equals, now we're bringing that y back that we ignored in the beginning, negative x minus 1 squared, and I want to put that negative 5 back on the other side, so I'm going to say plus 5. Right, so because I want to change the sign to move it over here with this stuff. And then my vertex is going to be positive 1, because always the opposite of what's inside there, right? So this guy is what I'm looking at. So my h value is equal to positive 1. And then this is the k value, which is 5. And then the vertex on this one is going to be a maximum, which means because this is negative, right, it's going to open down, which means that vertex, 1, 5, that's the highest point. That's your maximum right there. Okay, I hope that helps. Let me do one easy one, and then I'll do number 11. So let me do number 8 also. So in number 8, because x squared is just good old x squared, I'm going to ignore this y until the end. I'm going to rewrite it so that it's x squared minus 6x plus square equals 17. Oops. What did I do wrong? Hopefully you're catching my mistake. It's got to be negative 17 because I'm separating it from its friends and moving it to the other side of the equal sign, right? So don't forget to change the sign if they're all on the same side. Okay, now I'm going to do my b divided by 2 squared. So I'm going to take my negative 6 right here, right? Negative 6 divided by 2 squared, which is negative 3 squared, which is 9. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. This time I don't have to overthink it because that x squared we didn't do anything to. It's good as it is, right? And then notice that that is now a perfect square trinomial there on the left-hand side. So I'm going to go x minus 3 squared equals negative 17 plus 9 is 8, negative 8. And then I need to put my y equals back in that I ignored at the beginning, right? So now I say y equals. I need everything to be on one side of the equal sign, so I'm going to keep this guy positive, and I'm simply going to add the 8. And then that is the equation. And your vertex on that one would be 3, 8, so opposite of this guy, says the sign of this guy. And then this one is going to be a minimum because it's positive a squared, so it's going to open this way, which means that is the lowest point, that 3, 8. Okay? Last one, number 11. When there's a 2, it gets a little squirrely. It's a lot like the negative. We want to take it out, right? So we're going to ignore, again, this y, and I'm going to rewrite 2x squared plus 12x plus 17. This time, let's try it this way, guys. Maybe this will be a little less confusing. So I'm going to divide everything by 2 to start. Okay, and then the 0 also. So that gives me, don't forget that that has to go in the front. That leaves over x squared, right, plus 6x. And then this guy is nasty. We're going to have to leave it 17 divided by 2. I'm going to go ahead and write it as a decimal just for simplicity's sake. So 2 goes into 17 8.5 times, right? Okay, so now, when I go to move this stuff, here's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, guys, sorry. I think my other way is easier, where we ignore the 17 over 2, and we go ahead and put it on this side, right? So instead of having the 17 over 2 right here, that's kind of icky, right? So instead of doing that step, I'm going to do very much what I did with the negative up above, right up here, where I moved the 5 over first, or sorry, the negative 4 over first. In this case, I'm just going to take the 2 out of the 2 main things. Then I'm going to put my plus square, and from the beginning, I'm going to move that positive 17 over to this side and make it negative. Okay, so I hope I didn't lose you. Let me know if you're actually watching this tomorrow if you're still confused. Okay, so negative 17 plus blank. All right, now just be careful when we'll talk about it in a second. All right, the 6 divided by 2, right? We take our b divided by 2 and always square it. So that's going to be 9. So I'm adding 9 to this side, but am I really adding 9? No, look guys, I'm adding 18 because this 2 has to be distributed to that 9, right? So when I'm adding the 9, it's really 9 times 2, which is 18. So on this side, I just simply want to add 18. Sorry, I did it again. Okay, so 18. All right, which is much better than dealing with that fraction that I had at first. Okay, now from here, remember that the 6 divided by 2 was 3, and 3 is the number that you need this to be, because 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 plus 3 is 6. So the 2 is still there. X plus 3 squared is what this just became, right? And then equals negative 17 plus 18 is 1. And then I can just simply bring my y back into it, keep this where it is, and subtract the 1 to move it over, right? And then that guy would have a vertex that is negative 3, negative 1, and it would be a minimum because it is positive 2. Okay, I hope that helps.